Hello, Kaci Brown here. I am thrilled to welcome you to the Brace for Impact podcast. I've been incredibly blessed to work with and coach some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry. And do you know the one thing that they all had in common? They didn't wait for the perfect time, but hit the ground running. They learned to see opportunity in motion and just leap. I created this podcast to help other entrepreneurs own their calling, expand their influence, get uncomfortable, embrace the growth of the journey to leave an impact on the world around them. For those who are ready to stop playing it small, to pick up the mantle of contribution that our clients in the world so desperately need. If that's you, then get ready to brace for impact as I share with you the top strategies, real truths, and hacks to crash through the obstacles and arrive in alignment of integrity, impact, and income. It's time to initiate the ripple effect of change. Hey, this is Kaci Brown. I've got day one's recap of the Amplify Retreat for you in store today with a bonus interview with my mentor, Jorge Vasquez, and just an incredible part who decided to be all in and join me on the journey with the Amplify Retreat. And so we'll take a deep dive and a recap of what we covered today, just talking all things leadership, overcoming his story. And again, he's just such an incredible influence in my life and has contributed greatly to just the leaps and bounds of growth that I've had personally and professionally, and can make one heck of a batch of pancakes, as you will hear soon. So sit back, have fun, hope you enjoy, and here we go. Hey, this is Kaci Brown. We are here in LA, the Hollywood Hills, California, with Jorge Vasquez. We're going to do a sneak peek into the behind the scenes of the Amplify Retreat and how we started our day with Pancakes with Jorge, one of our favorite one of our absolutely favorite topics of the day, and I think we actually have a whole complete value ladder and funnel around pancakes with Jorge and gently hand-folded eggs that go along with it. What do you think?
I think that's going to be a start of some very uplifting morning conversations.
That's it?
That's it. That's all it's going to be about. Honestly, I haven't given it much thought beyond that. Some of the best things that I've been able to produce have been on the fly, giving myself permission to think outrageously and outside of the box. And this came as a result of creative thinking, joking around. I've seen in the past, people have shared with me in the past, and it's happened to me as well. And some of my best ideas come while in the shower. And for a lot of people, as a result of giving themselves permission to sing and, give themselves that space to have their mind wander, they stumble across things. And for me, it comes when saying the most outrageous joke I could think of at the moment that may even come off inappropriate at the time, and then there's that fine line between insanity and just brilliance. And so Pancakes with Jorge may have a birth here.
I love it. It's been really fun because it was legitimately Pancakes with Jorge because you did cook us breakfast this morning.
Yes, it did.
And just the whole idea behind the Amplify Retreat was to just kind of unplug and slow down and allow yourself to have that creative freedom and silly ideas in that space to focus on our businesses. And that's one of the biggest things is so many of us get busy and bogged down into the details and the delivery and just, the everyday mundane motions, and you don't really allow yourself to expand and dream big. So what was that like for you to be able to just unplug for these next few days? How's that feel and what's it look like?
You know what, I enjoy getting away from the city, even though we're in Los Angeles, in the Hollywood Hills. There's something about going into nature, the hills, removed from the city that, like you said, unplugged, where we're often inundated with TV shows, entertainment. Um, we just got back from dinner, and as I was exiting the restaurant, there was very little reception inside the restaurant, and my phone started to get all the notifications, and I was paying attention to my phone, and one of the participants gave me one of the best acknowledgments, and I completely missed it because of being submerged in technology and social media, and being a connoisseur of content versus a creator of content. And uh, it became a bit hilarious because as I looked up, I was like, huh? And uh, she repeated herself, and part of the acknowledgement was that she'll never repeat it again. Yet she had to repeat it again. So, but that's what happens. That's what happens when technology takes over, automation takes over, uh, and you get. I've been allowing technology to guide me and lead me. As a matter of fact, I shared with you the other day how it was a bit, what's that word, meta, where I remember in order to go somewhere, I had to look up the Thomas Guide and drive around to go somewhere. And you had to write down the directions. I wrote them down. I did turn by turn. And now it's so simple to just put it into a phone and have something navigate me. And there's been times where I catch myself where I'm not as strong in my navigation because of. So getting back to the question, getting away from all of that, getting secluded to reinforce connection, to reinforce relationships. Because when those things are gone, what are you left with?
Yeah, that's awesome because one of the topics that we really wanted to take a deep dive into is that rest and renewal and refreshing and just allowing yourself that creative space. And that was definitely one of the driving forces for the location that we selected here for the retreat. What what in your opinion and being of LA, like can you describe that for everybody listening?
Describe what piece?
Our freaking amazing view.
Oh, the view, yes. Um, in the direction that we're facing, we get to see the sun rise, not the sunset. And Los Angeles is well known for its sunsets. But in the theme of what the retreat is about is an awakening, rejuvenation, a rise. And so it's perfect that the place that we've rented is pointing towards the east, and the view is quiet, serene, beautiful. The clarity of the sky, and even though we're in the Hollywood Hills, we don't see anything Hollywood, not even the sign. So it's getting away, but being local still.
Yeah, I think what like Hollywood Studios is or Universal Studios is just 5 minutes, and you can hear the crickets, probably even in the background of the podcast.
Yeah, they're chirping.
Yeah. So, what do you think your biggest takeaway was from today, or one of the biggest highlights of the day?
Oh God, ah, there's been so many, so many. Um, One of my aspirations is to go back uh, to become a trainer for a particular training that got me onto the road of personal growth and personal development. It's still a dream of mine, and it's eluded me. And there's been a lot of growth over the years to hone in on the things that have been missing that I get to flex in order make my way a step closer. And uh, after recent events um, and maturity, great maturity in the last 3 years, uh, today it was one of the first days that I began to really step into it and facilitate at a completely different level than I have in the past. I've witnessed it, um, and I've seen it been done over and over, but this time without proper training, if you will, uh, I took my shot and stepped into it courageously. I stepped into it as powerfully and with conviction and commitment.
Yeah, and it went really, really well. I think one of my favorite things about this retreat and the experience overall has really been just like we've had several calls leading up to it, and just the planning and almost protecting that space, not to overplan or put too much into what hour by hour, minute by minute, and just organically meet everybody where they were at to be exactly what they needed when they needed it. And one of my biggest like visions with the retreat was to kind of marry that leadership in business and family and life and impact, but also leveraging stories and purpose and that fuel our marketing and just like bring it full circle. So one of the biggest things that I think is missing in a lot of the retreats is there's just way too much learning and not enough implementation, but also not that personal responsibility and leadership. And I think that's my favorite thing about one of the exercises that we walked through today. And I know that is definitely your superpower.
You know, I ever since you mentioned that you wanted to put together a retreat and its evolution and the name of the retreat is appropriate as to not only what the participants came here to get, but also in its process is we've ramped up and amplified and build the pressure, prime the pump, made it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because uh, with that uh, small step forward, it could push into new grounds and create that momentum. The reason I look to get into that role is because I get fulfillment from supporting others and championing them into their next level and their evolution as well. And so, seeing the transition, seeing things um, move and create that awakening, having those key takeaways, those pivotal moments, that light bulb go off. Yeah, not off like dim, but like spark is what I meant.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of what we talked about today is that spark and that fire that fuels beyond just this is fun or this is something that may be able to pay our bills, but it's literally something that someone could build a legacy around and make a movement and really create that ultimate ripple effect of changing lives. And the thing about it is, in my opinion, if you apply it properly, it can work in any business in any industry.
Yeah. So when I facilitate, when I coach, um, oftentimes people come for a particular outcome, and I'm not invested in helping them with that one thing. I'm invested in helping them gain life skills that they could apply in different areas. It may look a little differently, but it's applicable in family, with friends, in business, and it transcends.
Yeah, it definitely has generational effects beyond like the here and now. It can totally change the trajectory of a family and pretty much all the lives that it touches. So, and for those of you guys listening, Jorge was such a pivotal impact maker and influence and mentor in my life and my development. Like when you hear me talk about fears or pushing through or getting uncomfortable, like many of the times it was literally him pushing me through and making me embrace being uncomfortable. And so, Jorge, I really want to take the time to share that appreciation, but also if you could just like share a little bit of your background and your story, and also like beyond what we're doing and the incredible work that will come of what we're doing with the first retreat here in the future, but beyond that, what the future looks like for you.
Okay, so you.
That was a loaded question.
My backstory or where I'm going? Where do you want me to start?
Just a little bit about your backstory and how you came to be like it's always interesting for me to share everyone's kind of transition to get to where they were at, because it's definitely not a straight path or one that we would even choose.
Yeah. Okay, so a little backstory on me and how I came about this. At least in the line of work that I'm in now. Looking back, it just appears like I've been training for it my entire life, not knowing that I was. Um, when I got turned on to personal development, I had been dumped by a girlfriend, lost my job that same week, um, was living at home with my mother, and not that that's necessarily a bad thing to be living at home, but at the age I was, which was around 27 at the time, there was, um, you know, I was not where I wanted to be in my life. It's certainly not where I thought my life would be. I had my daughter was 6 at the time. My daughter was about 6 years old, 6, 7 years old at the time, and so I, I, I was depressed. I was looking for answers, and I reached out to a friend who had introduced me to a series of trainings. But I ignored it. I pushed it away, and got to the point of desperation. And so called him up. He uh, showed me where these trainings were being held at, and I jumped in. And ever since then, I fell in love with the personal development and coaching. And so I volunteered for almost 7 years, very heavily for 5, and I got to coach the gamut, anything from business to relationships to marketing. I mean, it was just anything anybody brought forth. And I also, in that time, was also continuously looking for other trainings to be challenged in, so that I could acquire new perspectives and new insights. And it wasn't until somebody challenged me and asked me to, why wasn't I doing this full time? Like I was really good at it. Why wasn't I doing it full time? And right when I was asked that question, I had completed the two previous teams that I had completed, which were about 4.5 month to 5 month journeys with each team. I had produced in what's considered like the valedictorian of those classes and coaching them. And so I figured they had a point. So I sought out to get officially certified. I thought that was the appropriate thing to do, and so I did, and signed up with the John Maxwell team. Got certified through them, and then I got my butt handed to me because in that other environment, I didn't have to sell anything. I didn't have to market anything. I didn't have to be creative. They just handed me the students, and I serviced them. And when I went off on my own, I thought I was hot shot, and I quickly got humbled because I couldn't market my services to save my life. And so I struggled. And it took about a year of struggling before I decided to seek out support. and took on a a marketing course for coaches by a mentor, and they turned me on into digital marketing, which then led me to working for a software company around marketing. And so I later then worked for them, and I wasn't getting any traction, so I later worked for them, and I figured if I'm really gonna get into learning marketing, I might as well drink the Kool-Aid. And so I worked for the company. I couldn't afford any other trainings anymore. I exhausted my resources, and so jumped in and decided to get paid and learn at the same time. But I gave myself a year, and after a year's time, I was gonna make my exit. And as I was exiting, they offered a coaching position, and so not only did I know the tech side, but I also had been trained in coaching, and so it was an ideal perfect fit. And had they not chosen me, I would have left anyways, because that was the game plan. But they did choose me, and got to experience all of that. Got to learn far more. Got to see a whole different world, and my resistance to sales and marketing has diminished significantly. I always had as sales and marketing as gimmicky and icky and just negative. And it was mainly because I've had negative experiences in my past about the process, and so I didn't want to be that. So I resisted it, and if in the process of coaching it though, it finally clicked that it's only that if I say it's that. And even if everybody else is doing it the other way, unethically and salesy and inauthentic, that didn't mean I had to participate in it in that same manner. So I started to surrender and started to grow and started to flourish. Created some amazing events, and I ended up with a promotion. And come around this year, I had the privilege of working with you. You were one of my uh, students last year, and then because of who you are and how you showed up and your willingness to grow and be coachable, when they asked me who would I recommend, you were one of the first people that came to mind. You and a couple other people, and the people that I had recommended got brought on board. And so now, moving forward into the future, it has given me the ability to springboard even faster, having developed these relationships, having stretched myself further than I haven't before. Everybody comes with their own set of problems and their own set of concerns, and I I got to face them, and I still get to face new ones as they come. The more I grow, the more challenges I'm going to face, and those challenges will continue to present themselves until I learn how to handle them. And once I overcome them, I'm going to acquire a whole new set of concerns, issues, problems, however you want to view them or express them. So, building out an agency for funnel strategy and funnel building, partnering up with my mentor, who I ended up running into at an event. Now I build out his funnels as well. We're going to be collaborating on other projects. Another secret project is in the works as well, around a coaching program for a coaching program. So a coaching program within a coaching program. Um, and then uh, supporting other business owners and entrepreneurs in their marketing and messaging, uh, collaborating with you.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things to tell you is you're absolutely stuck with me.
And in the past, that would have been something a little uncomfortable for me, and having somebody uh, give of themselves as much as you give, and to be able to receive it. So for some people, it's the other way around. You know, they can give but not receive. Some can receive so easily, yet struggle giving. And so I struggle receiving.
I think I just completely understand why you're so hard on me about making more strides with receiving. That was definitely one of the topics of tonight. And it's interesting that you say that because many of people who are impact driven, it is easy to give and a lot harder to receive. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And in all my years of coaching, and I've been coaching for, oh, Jesus Christ, like 12 years now, people really struggle. One of the things people want most is to be seen and to be heard. And it's interesting. The moment they get what they ask for, they shy away from it and back up. And I'm no exception. I'm no exception. I'm not looking for the spotlight, and that might be the reason why I do so well, is because I'm not concerned about receiving the accolades, and yet they show up, and it's uncomfortable, and uh, I've gotten a whole lot better with it, and even though I'm better at it, doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. It just means that I've learned to sit in the discomfort, because somebody had put it to me that in giving to somebody else, it's fulfilling for me. And when somebody tries to give to me and I turned it down and turned it away, I was robbing them of having that same experience I get when I give. And and that's selfish. So if you want to be an amazing giver, you have to be an excellent receiver.
I love it. So we have 2.5 more days left here in the retreat.
Yeah, we just got started.
um, and so Nick is with us, and he's going to be doing an interview coming up. And this has been really interesting. It's my first actually live in person interview, so it's like anything can happen, but I think it's going pretty well. So Nick is gonna start us off tomorrow with just anchoring and messaging and storytelling, and tonight or today, most of today was spent doing like the hard stuff, the inner work, like what it is you really are going after, and putting the frame on that reality, and envisioning it, and digging deep, and making sure what direction you're even stepping in is the direction that you're going to want to stick with, and you want to go, and you're going to really be able to play all out. So that was sort of like the groundwork in phase one. And then phase two, tomorrow, we're taking a deep dive into messaging.
Into messaging. What I do want to share with your listeners, so that they uh, get a bit more context of what happened in day one. I learned this from one of the trainers, and it was a really big shift in perspective for me and mindset. I was in a training, and he asked the question, as far as we're up to, impacting people, and we're up to shifting the world, and making leaders. What are you going to say to them? What can you say to them? And I was part of his staff, and everybody was giving answers, and I got stuck. I drew a blank, and then it came to my turn, and I can't even remember what it was that I said. But regardless of what I said, it didn't matter, because the lesson that he so eloquently put together in front of us is that there is nothing that I could say that would make a difference. Now, that's not to say that words aren't important. You know, they are, because that's what we use to communicate. But what communicates far greater is a person's way of being, their energy, their essence, if you will. Studies have been done that 97% of communication is body language and you know energy, and the remaining seven is uh, the words and your voice and your tone. So that's why today was such a tough, deeper cut, is to really get clarity and grounded in the intention, the intention of why they're here, the intention of the impact they want to make, the intention behind their communication and the messaging. Once you know where you're going, everything else falls into place. So if you know what your target is, you'll know what to say, when to say it. It may not be easy and it may not be comfortable, but you'll know.
Yeah, that was really impactful tonight, and just really taking the time, and that is the thing, like really taking the time. And we the title of this podcast today, this episode, is Pancakes with Jorge, and it is all in fun. But and the retreat, the location, and everything, and our intention, and what we're working on, and deliverables, and not just the story and the message and the longevity and the leadership and the marketing assets and all of that good stuff. But it's literally slowing down to spend the time reflecting internally, but also pouring into others and the relationships. I mean, today was such a long and glorious day. We made our meals together. We ate our meals together. Just having lunch out on the back patio and just laughing was definitely one of the highlights of my day. Just completely being present and undistracted, like you said. I really enjoyed being completely off of social media and only really having my phone for pictures or videos, and that awesome B-roll that we always talk about, and just being completely present. So I guess we can leave that and transition to what is in store for tomorrow.
That's a awfully good question. I've been the moment, in this moment, that I have not paused long enough to know or even plan for tomorrow. And that's what I love about having worked with you on this, is that your willingness to meet them where they're at. So I know we had discussed putting together the messaging. As you mentioned, Nick is going to be presenting, honing in on their voice and being able to own their voice and present it in such a way. And it's going to be fun. And if we need a pivot to provide what we need in order to ensure that outcome, then we'll pivot. We didn't start out today as we thought we were, yet we created magic. So
Agreed. And I'll just end on that. And I definitely want to highlight just the facts. Like, if you are listening and you're wondering about lab events or retreats or making things perfect, a lot of that is some things that we talked about today. Is anything from imposter syndrome to getting out of your own way, mental blocks. I'm not good enough. I haven't put in my time, or I don't know how, or I may not be willing to stand up and be in front of somebody. This podcast itself is, I joke and call it the little podcast that could. It's a product of imperfect action. The Amplify Retreat is a product of imperfect action, and it's just with a bigger vision and mission and heart to serve. And it's almost like that's 90%. Just being willing to go in and show up and play all out. The rest will fall into place when you fully step into purpose. Like, I wholeheartedly believe the rest will fall into place.
Yeah, it certainly will. And if there's ever a quote that captures your essence that has been injected into this retreat, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I see that people get that they matter and that they care. And so for me, it's an honor and it's a privilege to play alongside with you, to have somebody committed out of their mind and to put their money where their mouth is, not knowing what it's going to look like, and doing it afraid anyways.
Truer words were never spoken, and I still cannot put into words what an honor and a privilege it is to have you here and be a part of this in so many ways. And I made a point to text you when I was taking off from Atlanta, just to let you know, like, that internal shift that I felt. Like, I knew that when the wheels hit the ground in California, that nothing would be the same again. And it's exciting. It's an exciting, like, just an incredible recap. But like, this is literally the beginning of something that it is that fire, and it's not just a singular burning one person. It's I don't know. It's bigger than me.
Yeah, it is. Having the best people possible around you, having a team around you, as John Maxwell has been famously quoted, takes teamwork to make the dream work. And you recognize that there's a level of leadership that needs to be injected. You're not interested in creating managers or management. You're interested in creating other leaders. The true essence of a leader is the ability to create leadership in others.
Yep. We got more work to do. So we will close it out and let you guys go, and keep you updated on tomorrow's events, and probably have a behind the scenes interview with Nick. And we'll definitely share day 2 of Pancakes with Jorge, and whatever adventures we have after.
Yes, day 2 with Pancakes with Jorge, and the secret recipe that we have yet to reveal.
That's true. And we'll just plant the seed right now on how you can really be creative with marketing and creating your own spin on old recipes. And there may even be avocados involved tomorrow. So thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a great time, a great afternoon, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Good night.
Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share, so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.